Okay. Welcome back to Go Again Gaming. Got my hat on today because if anybody cares, I actually haven't had a shower yet this morning. Some hair's a little bit all over the place. And we're also getting some autofocus. Let's turn that off. There we go. Look at that. Fantastic. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. We're just going to be chatting about a topic that I think is pivotal for Flesh and Blood going forward, and that is why Flesh and Blood need a ultimate pit fight product or a social sort of entry gateway system, or product to get players in and keep people invested in the game that aren't necessarily going to be your armory grinders, your PTI qualifiers, your people that are traveling all over the world to compete in these high level events. This is for people that are interested in exploring the different character options, the character select screen that Flesh and Blood has. And I think it's an important topic to discuss because I think the competitive side of it is doing obviously really well. Obviously, that's where the foundation is. That's the core foundation of the game, is to obviously have a fantastic system and engaging back and forth between two characters, two players, and they've done that really well with the lack of variance and all that sort of stuff, and really being able to optimize your decks to the best of your ability and really reward your skill as a player, as a competitor. But what falls by the wayside as a result of that system is the casual and social experience. Now, I'm doing this video because I have now edited and uploaded the first episode of Ultimate Pit Night, which is a UPF-based series trying to have the aim of becoming the go-to sort of social series, right? Very much like Game Nights is for Magic and Commander. Now, Commander is another discussion that obviously we're going to get into today, because that is carrying Magic, really, and it has done for the last couple of years as Magic dropped their organised play system. Commander, especially over COVID, was a great way to sort of really hone into one legendary creature that you really liked. So Commander is a variant of Magic the Gathering. It's a multiplayer, social, casual game, and with that comes a lot more variance, right? If you have more players around the table, more targets to attack, that 1v1 game design is then disregarded, essentially. Which is why in Ultimate Pit Fight you can bring a really, really hyper-competitive deck and still get absolutely rinsed. Is because you have to deal with more than just the one person sat across from you. You've also got a person to your left. You've also got a person to your right. You've also got someone who you can't attack, who sat diagonally from you, still potentially affecting you with cards and like drawing cards and other things, discarding cards with codexes and all that sort of stuff now. And obviously with the Content Creator Appreciation Kit, which I will be getting at some point today. The UPS package is being delivered today, so stay tuned for how you can get your hands on some of those promos like that. I know they are unique to content creators, but I imagine there's going to be more of this going forward. If they're giving little tidbits now of saying, right, this is another card that you can use in UPF, that says to me that there is going to be some form of concentration on that format in the future, and I hope there is, because there's a lot of products out there in the Magic world as well which could be imitated. One of the ones that comes to mind is the sort of Game Nights product. It was like this product that came with a load of decks that you could essentially just get out for game night. You got your friends round, you bring out the Game Night product, you pull out all of these decks that you can play in a multiplayer scenario, and you're ready to go. It's a play out of the box experience, but also using that Magic system. I think Flesh and Blood need something like this. I think they need some form of out-of-the-box product where you can just buy it at your LGS and you can experience the system of Flesh and Blood, but in a contained, social, safe environment. Because let's be honest, buying a Blitz deck off of the counter and then going to your armory is a fucking shit show. It really is. You can't buy a blitz deck off of the shelf and then go to an armory or a PTQ or whatever it is. You can't do that, because you just get absolutely smashed left, right, and centre. So if you're buying a product off of the shelf, which is self-contained and it's multiplayer, which also means that if you've got newer players and sort of and older, experienced players in the same pod, they can help you out. They can do these things. They can tell you the answers to your questions and really get you invested into that game. And then not only that, a product like that is also amazing for gateway purposes, right? So if you pick up this game night products, let's say a UPF equivalent of that, and you bring it to your local gate, you bring it to your table, and you get it out, and you start playing. You're like, oh yeah, the mechanics of this is so much better than Magic, because you don't have any dead cards in your hand. You can use this to block, you can use this to pitch, you can use this to attack. I still have my weapon on board, unless you're a ranger, of course, to attack with, and I've got my armor here, which I can use to block, and all this sort of stuff is amazing to experience for the first time, and hence why a lot of us got into Flesh and Blood, because of those mechanics, right? As well as the fact it's very, very character driven, as well as another massive selling point, that you can add in these unique characters into these potential sort of off the shelf purchases, which only can be used in Ultimate Pit Fight or Blitz, potentially, depending on how they do that. But yeah, I think Flesh and Blood is missing a product like this, because I have a lot of Commander players in my friendship group. A lot of people will not touch another game because they're so engrossed in Commander. Why are they engrossed in Commander? Because they can pretty much build whatever deck they want to build and still have a chance of winning. That's another thing as well, that Flesh and Blood is... It can be a good thing and a bad thing, is the fact that it doesn't have much variance, right? All TCGs will have RNG, all TCGs will have variance, but what can really sort of up the experience for people is having more variance, and that's what multiplayer formats will give you, is the fact that because you can be attacked from your left and your right in a UPF scenario, or in Commander you can attack anybody at any time. Your one singular deck then becomes a lot less powerful and a lot less consistent, because of the fact you have to deal with multiple people, and that's when social politics and all this sort of stuff comes into it, and the fun times and the experiences and the stories that you tell as a result is something that can really build up that social and casual audience to then potentially make the leap into buying the singles that they need from various outlets and stuff to build a deck for the 1v1 scenario, your armories, and then whatever goes up from there, And I think that can also breed and spawn new players and new minds in the game that might not necessarily have been sort of spawned before, because they didn't have the entry level, they didn't have the gateway. And Flesh and Blood does have these blitz decks, they do have the classic battles decks and all that sort of thing, but they don't even come with any fucking rules. There's no rules in there. How do you have a starter product that has no rules in it? The Outsiders decks, for instance, don't have any rules in them at all. There's a link, of course, where you can go onto fabtcg.com and then find the right the right articles and stuff as to the rules, but you still have to do a lot of searching. There's not even like a QR code for the Zoomers. I'm not a Zoomer, but the Zoomers can just literally take a picture on their phone, get their camera app out, scan it, and then take them to a video of like DM Armada, Red Zone Rogue, Clarion Community College to learn how to play. There isn't even that in the starter decks at the moment. Classic Battles had a lore book, unless I'm missing something. I can't remember that product, but that goes to show how good it was. But there needs to be some form of, I feel, because I'm obviously promoting Ultimate Pit Fight right now, and obviously the next video, or the first video, should I say, in this particular series is dropping on Thursday at 8 PM UK time. It's going to be a fantastic one. I hope you all enjoy it. But I'm coming from that UPF perspective. I'm coming from that. I'm a massive board game fan. You probably can't see this right now, but oh shit, I've just turned the light off. But over on the side there, got a lot of board games and stuff going on, as you can see. So I'm a massive board game fan, and I think board games and the board game sort of format as such is a great way to up the variance and up the sort of chaotic nature of the game, but also be allowing players to get into it socially and casually with a potential of going on from there to become an actual player who's sort of in the system, in gem, and all that sort of thing. I think it can also make events and all those other stuff more sort of attendable to people that aren't playing in the main events as well. If you've got these this other sort of culture within Flesh and Blood that that's just happy to play UPF or PvE or all these other sort of out of the box experiences where they can still, if you go to like a UPF event or something, you can still bring your own deck, but you know it's going to be you can't hyper optimize it for a UPF game. You just can't. But I want those experiences to be had by a lot more people, hence why I'm doing the Ultimate Pit Night series, and hence why I'm trying to put this out into the ether, that this is something that we need as a community. So it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds. I think they are working on a lot of casual and social things behind the scenes. But yeah, this is just really a topical discussion for something that is promoting the video that I'm going to be doing and the series I'm going to be doing here on Go Again Gaming, and that's Ultimate Pit Night. Really proud of it as well. It took a long time to put together the first video. Already got another UPN. I'm calling this UPN. Ultimate Pit Night recorded with Red Zone Rogue, Remain from Ivafidia, and Leo from Brazilian Luminaris channel. That's already recorded, so that's going to come out probably a month or so from now. I've got a pod lined up to record this weekend, and then we've got another pod lined up to record in a few weeks as well. So it's going well. The organisation of it's going well. And yeah, just want to get more eyes on Ultimate Pit Night, more eyes on social Flesh and Blood, because that is something that exists, but hasn't had too much sort of support, and I think it can and will in the future. But thanks very much for watching, listening, and wherever you might be out there. If you haven't liked the video, subscribe and all that good stuff, please do that. It makes a difference. And yeah, check out the links in the description box below if you want to help support the channel directly. And yeah, that's it for just another rambling video. Cheers.